Hello and welcome to another Victoria 3 Developer Diary. Now, it is not unfair to say that I have been relatively disappointed by the last two Dev Diaries, going over the concept and the mechanics of warfare. And today we're going to be looking at naval stuff, navies and admirals, and basically seeing if maybe they're a little bit better, hopefully. I know my opinions on what we've had in the past couple of weeks have been somewhat controversial, and I have maybe kind of been a little bit too passionate about my opinions. I'll try and tone it down somewhat, though I will not be like hiding my opinions, but I think perhaps doing the community sentiment video probably wasn't the best idea, especially not in the way that I did it. So probably if you see that again, it will not be quite as it won't be the same. It won't be the same. We're trying something new because I wasn't really happy with that video. But anyway, enough of that garbage. Let us have a look firstly at the Twitter teaser. This week's Paradox Developer blah 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 Victoria Dev Diary will be going into how navies and admirals work. As a teaser, you get to peek at a part of what the sea nodes that have been the source of so much speculation are used for. The bright pink means place order graphics. Right, so let's have a look at this. What can we glean from this? Well, we've got the British supply network just south of Sardinia, which is in the Mediterranean. We can see that there are 4,200 available convoys and that there are 5,000 required in 50 sea nodes. Does that mean we need 100 convoys per sea node? Maybe, who knows? And we've only got 4,200, so simple math, you get 84% supply network strength. We'll have to dig in and see exactly what all of that means. But yeah, that looks interesting. How about we jump in the Dev Diary and see what it all means? Because honestly, I can't really glean too much from this. Let's have a look. First of all, that's a nice ship model. And that's a nice ship model, meaning there are ship models on this game, which is great. I am very glad to see that we're going to have ship models on the map. Hopefully the same will be true of armies in the future, or hopefully before release, because that would certainly make fronts quite a lot more interesting if there was some graphical battling going on, especially coming up to like World War One, where you could have trench graphics and craters and mud, and just kind of show the front line as being a miserable, torturous hellscape, as it absolutely was. But yeah, it's good to see that there are some graphics here. Let's have a look at what we've got. Happy Thursday, and welcome back to our series of development diaries on warfare in Victoria 3. Today we'll talk about navies, and how we intend to make them as strategically important to winning wars as they were in history. This diary builds on the warfare vision presented in the concept of war, and many of the core mechanics present in fronts and generals, so ensure those are fresh in your mind before reading on. Your ability to sustain an empire depends to a large extent on how well you can compete on the high seas. This is the era of truly global trade, which also meant countries were highly susceptible to disruption of that trade, and the higher they climb, the harder they may fall. In Victoria 3, maintaining a powerful blue water navy is a large but necessary expense if you wish to ensure the integrity of your markets, overseas colonies, and trade routes during war. And even while at peace, a magnificent fleet can provide your nation with substantial prestige. All relatively good stuff, like nothing there is negative, nothing there is, it's positive that they class the Navy as being important. That's, other than Victoria 2, wasn't really the case in any other Paradox game until you went to multiplayer. Actually, if you're taking multiplayer out, even Victoria 2 wasn't very good at making navies important. I think taking away multiplayer, then maybe EU4 with their trade ships. But yeah, navies really weren't important in other Paradox games, and they weren't even present in CK3, so big mail on that one. Our design intent for naval gameplay in Victoria 3 is that it should serve as a strategic precision instrument in conflicts between seafaring nations. The sea is not another front in a war. The province-based moving front system works well to represent conflicts over territory Does it though? But would be nonsensical at sea, where no nation can be said to meaningfully control an enormous stretch of ocean. Instead, admirals and their flotillas are deployed to meet specific strategic objectives to disrupt the enemy's military operations or economy, or defend against such attempts by the enemy. A powerful navy can never win you the war on its own. Surprised British Pikachu face. But if deployed correctly under the right circumstances, it can be the ace in the hole that lets you outsmart even a foe that's superior on paper. So we have this image, a clipper departing Luanda in the Portuguese colonial state of North Angola, representing the colony's connection to the market capital in Lisbon. And we'll zoom in a little bit there. Yeah, it's pretty nice. I love the boat. I love the boat. Not gonna lie. And we see a little bit of the buildings here as well. Luanda and Ambrise with some roads. I think this is like the most high def vision of an area we've yet seen, right? It looks pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like the look of it. As with land warfare and generals, you control your navy through your admirals. So generals and admirals share many similarities. Both are provided with military resources originating from buildings in the strategic region they call home. The amount of resources they get depend on their rank, which you can grant via promotions to reward your favorite commanders. Their rank also lends political strength and clout to the character's favored interest group. Furthermore, both generals and admirals get traits that affect both themselves and those officers and servicemen serving underneath them. I think even the people who are absolutely diehard against this new warfare system can agree that the way that Victoria 3 is making generals more important and more personable and more unique is a good thing. I don't think anyone has said, I don't think I've seen a single person say that the general system seems bad. It seems to be pretty unanimous that this general system is great, and it is good then that the admiral system is following suit and having a similar system. There are no complaints whatsoever with making these characters, you know. Most importantly, just like generals are your interface to command your armies, admirals are the interface to your navies. Admirals are given orders which they attempt to carry out to the best of their ability using the flotillas they have been assigned. So flotillas, is that one or more ships? How many ships are in a flotilla? Anyway, the orders are intercept any hostile navies around a certain strategic region's friendly coastlines while keeping your fleets stationed close to shore. Patrol any shipping lanes between the admiral's home region and a remote region, intercepting any hostile navies encountered. Convoy raid at a particular point at sea to damage enemy shipping lanes. Naval invasion to establish a beachhead and a front line on enemy soil by escorting and protecting a general's land forces in a joint operation. While it's not yet made its way into the game, we also want to add a fifth order blockade to disable enemy ports and prevent hostile forces from crossing straits. This is very, very important, and I hope it does make it in. Also, the fact that, you know, armies have got 3 orders, one of which is literally do fuck all, and we've got 5, or we may have 5 for the navies is telling, right? It's very telling. I know they said they wanted to make naval warfare as important, if not more important. Clearly, you've got more control. That's something. So what we got? We got intercept, trying to take away, you know, the enemy ships around friendly coastlines. All right. Patrolling your shipping lanes. We don't know yet what the shipping lanes are, other than I think we were told that these are our shipping lanes. Its connection to the market capital. Maybe not. Convoy raid to go after the enemy's shipping lanes. So you can protect and you can attack shipping lanes with patrol and convoy raid. Then naval invasion to create a beachhead and create a front line on enemy soil. Okay. Hopefully we get a blockade. That seems like a really good idea. I guess intercept is the counter to naval invasion. Patrol is the counter to convoy raid. And I guess blockade would be apart from that, right? It's not against any of these. Although, I mean, it'd be very difficult for you to do anything if your enemy is navally superior and has you blockaded. So, yeah, I think you're probably, if you're in a world war, you're probably going to want to aim for a blockade, if you have the strength for it. Because a blockade would also stop convoys, right? It would stop trade, and that's what convoy raiding would be all about, I guess. So we've got an artistic mock-up of an admiral in the Navy panel. Admiral Ruiz and his 10 flotillas. 10 flotillas. That's what we got here, 10 flotillas. Are currently on an interception duty in the Iberian HQ, ensuring no naval invasions or blockades endanger the Spanish home front. It's interesting that they put blockades here, and the blockades aren't actually in the game yet, which is interesting. And we got the icons here then. So this one here is intercept, we've got patrol, we've got attack? Is this a convoy raid? And then this one, naval invasion? I don't know if I don't think these two icons are too terribly telling, to be honest. Like, if you told me that this was convoy raid, I'd believe you, because it's a cannon shooting. Like, that doesn't really mean anything. I think maybe naval invasion having some kind of coastline would be a good idea for the icon. I don't think either of these really show it too well. I think, especially for naval invasion, this looks more like a naval invasion than either of these two do. But yeah, that's just my little bit of critique on that. There we go. He's also a charismatic naval commander. Lovely. Normal skulls. I do like me some normal skulls. So convoy, raid, and naval invasion are aggressive orders intended to hurt the enemy in different ways, while intercept and patrol are defensive orders that counter the other two. But to really understand how these work, we have to start by talking about shipping lanes, good, and the supply network. So shipping lanes are facilitated by vessels called convoys, which are an output of port buildings. These are created automatically whenever it's necessary to move goods and or people overseas. The three main reasons this happens are due to naval trade routes between non-adjacent markets, remote states connecting to their market through a port, and battalions sent to front lines that can only be supplied by a ship. When a player is about to take an action that establishes such a shipping lane, they are warned of how many convoys would be required for this action, which is based on the size of the route or the army supplied. Shipping lanes are always established by the shortest possible path, as defined by the number of nodes in the naval network it passes through. So we go back to this image that we had before, but now we're zoomed out a bit, and it's the North Angolan shoreline. Main routes, ships travel off the coast of Southeast Africa. The yellow pin indicates this path is part of Portugal's supply network. Alright, so we've got this main thicker line, which is, I guess, the shipping lane, and then to get onto the shipping lane, you've got these smaller dashed lines. I kind of like that. That's not bad. That seems pretty intuitive. And then if you want to say convoy raid to stop Luanda and Ambrise and whatever is going to be up here, because you can see two more there, then I guess you're going to be convoy raiding this node. And is it these dots, these node dots, that you are going to be convoy raiding, I assume? Okay. The sum total of a country's shipping lanes determine the extent of its supply network, and the total cost in convoys of that network compared to the convoy output by ports determine the overall strength of that network. That is to say, if the total shipping lane cost is 500 convoys, but ports only provide 400, the supply network as a whole will operate at only 80% efficiency. This impacts all shipping lanes, causing less trade to flow between the markets than would be optimal and impacting the supply and morale of overseas troops. Okay. Alright, we got convoy raid here as well, and then I'll talk about something that's kind of popped into my head there. Admirals assigned to convoy raid will be given a C node and will surreptitiously try to sink any enemy transports that pass through. In effect, this will also do damage over time to the affected shipping lanes, causing both an overall drop in efficiency of the affected country's supply networks, but also a larger local drop in efficiency of the damaged shipping lanes. As a result, by parking your fleet in a highly trafficked part of the ocean, you could do a lot of damage to your enemy's trade, or even directly impact the amount of military supplies they're able to send to their front lines. Alright, so when you convoy raid, are you actually sinking convoy ships? Or are you just, while you're convoy raiding, lowering the efficiency? Because to me, this kind of looks like a capacity, right? Your ports are providing 400. If you build more ports, you can get that up. It's not 400 convoy ships being built. It's just 400 arbitrary convoy number. And the only way that matters is in the efficiency number. And if you are being convoy raided, it causes a drop in efficiency of the supply network. But what if, say you are, I don't know, we got a map of Europe here, right? What if we've got a situation where Two Sicilies is invading Egypt? They're invading Egypt and they've landed, and they've done a naval invasion in Egypt, right? What happens if the Ottoman Empire starts convoy raiding in the Eastern Mediterranean Sea? That is far enough away, I would say, from Sicily that any trade coming out through the Straits of Gibraltar would be unaffected. But if I'm reading this correctly, the overall drop in efficiency of the country's supply network. Of course, this supply network, this shipping lane would be damaged more, but there will be a drop in efficiency over here as well? Is that what we're kind of seeing here? Because I'm not sure that's entirely desirable for me. Because it kind of feels like the convoy ships aren't actually ships, but merely a way of representing this efficiency number, which is the actual thing that matters. And then if you are patrolling your convoy, your shipping lanes, what then happens to efficiency, right? Is that going to go up, or is it going to make it so that people who are raiding your shipping lanes do less damage to the efficiency? Because it kind of feels like, if Portugal's getting, porcelain from China, a raid in like Africa certainly shouldn't affect their trade with Egypt. I hope I'm not reading this completely wrong. Well, I hope I am, actually. I also love the map here. It's got the ships in the background. That's pretty dope. Alright, so a very visually unpolished view of part of Portugal's supply network stretching from the Azores around the African continent all the way to Portuguese Bombay. In the lower right corner we see additional tendril going east, which is a trade route importing porcelain from China. Okay, this is also something really interesting that I think this game will do incredibly well. Obviously, at the start of the game, 1836, the Suez Canal is not yet completed. I would assume that once it is completed, this node here and this node here will connect, and all of this trade is going to go a different way. And I would hope that whoever controls the Suez would get a big hefting hunk of chunk of cash for it. That'd be pretty cool. Making these actually matter is a really desirable thing. Okay, so we've got all of these as Portuguese nodes, sea nodes. They've got 21 of them. They've got 2,000 convoys. Required convoys 2,100. Okay, so it does look like, unfortunately, I would say, 100 convoys per node. Why though? Why is it so even? what is the reason for it to be so round numbery, right? You're telling me that every single one of these sea nodes, regardless of the traffic that goes through it, requires 100 convoys each? I can't believe that. So if Portugal's getting a just ridiculous amount of goods from the, I don't know, China, it's going to go through all of these nodes. I don't know, maybe like 15 nodes or something. There's going to be 1,500 convoys. Or even if it's getting like a tiny amount from China, it's still going to cost that 1,500 convoys. No matter how much trade you got going on with China, it's going to take the same amount of convoys. Is that really what we're talking about here? That seems bizarre. But I guess that is also a problem with the fact that there are no goods in Victoria 3. There's no stockpile of any goods. Goods are not an item. It is, I guess, it's just a representation. That's awkward. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that yet. I'm making a distinct effort to not be just negative, right? I want to get behind this, you know? I want this to be good. Alright, let's have a look. Right, so we got patrol here now as well. Admirals assigned to patrol a certain stretch of their naval supply network will eventually be able to detect and engage the raiding enemy, causing a naval battle to ensue. Okay, so we do have the naval battles as well. Which will not only sink ships, good, but also send the losing side back to base for repairs for some time. Okay, so my question then is, what constitutes a base, right? So we've got, we'll take Portugal because this is their node, right? Say they have a naval battle in this node here, right? Whatever, I don't know, the Gulf of Guinea. Gulf of Guinea, there's a battle here. Sink some ships, damage some ships, whatever. Why is only the losing side going back to base for repairs? I don't see anything on those Admiral orders things that says that the winning side has to go back for repairs. Does the winning side actually get damaged? Or is it this just you've lost the battle, so now you're forced to spend some time not going through with orders? That's worrying. So, okay, putting that aside, worryingly, putting that aside, what happens when, you've got a battle, where are the ships going to go? Because I think Portugal owns some land around here, right? They've got, I think that's theirs, Dahomey? No, I don't know. Maybe this is their, Portugal's got some territory around in Africa, right? Here, even, right? Will they go and dock up here and get repairs? Or will they have to find a better port? Say you've got ships of the line, you've got dreadnoughts, and the ports here are unworthy. Will they go over here? Or will they go anywhere? Or are they just a case of you don't have access to them for a little while? And honestly, what would be the difference? Like, will we see combat ships on the map? Because so far, we've got this, but that could be a convoy, right? That could just be a little bit of art on the map to show you that trade is moving in this direction, like we have in EU4. Are we going to see combat on the map? Are we going to see sea battles? Are we going to see military ships? Or I don't know, and it worries me. I say this is the problem, right? I was so positive for so long about all these different things about Victoria 3, and now the last couple of dev diaries have come out, and I'm second guessing everything. Also, there's a sea route in the Caspian Sea, which I absolutely love to see. Yeah, I'm like second guessing absolutely everything, which is, it does not feel good. Admirals assigned to intercept all nodes along a coastline. Okay, so you can select more than one node. Alright. Are able to do the same to any raiders along the coast. Convoy raiding... Oh, intercept is on the coastlines. Right, of course. So how big are these sea tiles? Like, if you're assigned to intercept on the coastline, are we going to be able to fight battles in the gap between Portugal and Madagascar here? I don't know. Convoy raiding right outside major entry and exit ports, such as the English Channel, therefore has the chance to seriously disrupt a large number of shipping lanes, but also put you at greater risk of detection and interception than if you're raiding transatlantic shipping lanes on the deep seas. Okay, good. That's great. The composition of your navy can also greatly impact how this plays out. Okay, how do you affect the composition? Are we going to be basically having production methods in our ports? That's how they've done armies. I don't know if I'm too terribly in favor of that, if I'm right. A fleet with an accompaniment of submarines can deal more damage before being intercepted, while a fleet of monitors has an easier time intercepting raiders, but may be more easily sunk if faced down by a more powerful navy. How much control do I have over the composition of these navies? Because the distance admirals must patrol plays a difference, there is an inherent asymmetry to convoy raiding and patrol orders. Since a chain is only as strong as its weakest link, the damage done to a shipping lane by raiders is the same whether it stretches across one node or 10, whether 10 times as many flotillas are needed to protect the longer route as effectively as the shorter. Okay. What is a flotilla? 10 times as many flotillas. Is a flotilla just a boat? Is it a squadron of boats? How many boats or ships, whatever? How many floaty boaty boys have we got in a flotilla? Extremely unfinished breakdown of what is currently happening in the Macaronesian Sea. All those juicy raiding targets. Okay, so you can see what's going on. We got Britain is tracing supply. The fuck does tracing supply mean? Commander. Are admirals count as commanders? I think admirals and generals are both under the umbrella of commander, right? France is there because they're important fabric. Austria's there because they're important. USA is importing. Denmark's just there. Sardinia Piedmont's exporting tools to the Chinese market. Okay. And Macaronesia. I always thought it was Macronesia, but whatever. It's the islands that are right here. I think this is the Macaronesia. That one right there. Alright, Naval Invasion. Also, that's a boat model. Alright, that's concept art. Although that concept art looks fucking delightful. I'm not gonna lie, I really like it. So, Naval Invasion is an order you give to provide naval support for a general's landing on an enemy coastline. The size of the fleet determines two things. One, how great is the chance that you'll be able to defeat an opponent's intercepting fleet, and two, how many battalions will you be able to successfully land. Even if the enemy has no defensive fleet at all, a naval invasion with a very small fleet might land too weak of an initial force to withstand the enemy's counter-offense before the rest of the army can arrive. Since naval invasion is a one-time order, it can, once it's been completed, it automatically turns into a patrol order to protect the shipping lane, supplying the new front. Okay, that's a decent idea. I kind of like the way this works, actually. Right? If you don't assign too many enough ships, then your front is going to be smaller, your invasion is going to be smaller. That makes sense. Having to supply this new invasion makes sense. You would need to have good efficiency, right, to supply them as well. Like, that's the problem with it not to my knowledge, to what it looks like, that they're not actually boats. How many convoys are needed, or what efficiency is needed, because efficiency is seemingly the be-all and end-all, to supply this new army? Is it... I mean, I don't know. I don't know. There's no notice or indication here of how much supply or how many convoys a single battalion needs in a naval invasion. So I like this concept art, though. This concept art is pretty dope. Right, I'm a big fan of floaty boats. Oh, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted either. It's pretty high fidelity as well. I really like that. Really like that. Big fan. Alright, here we go. Right. Navies are made up of flotillas, which are constructed and maintained by naval bases. Naturally, these can only be built on coastlines, where they consume military vessels such as man-o'-wars or ironclads constructed in shipyards. Okay, so you need shipyards, and I guess the naval bases is basically where the Navy sleeps, or where they are. You need to build the ships, but the ships can't stay in the shipyard that builds it. They go to the naval base. That's their station. But again, how many ships is a flotilla? Like barracks, they also employ servicemen and officers' pops, and depending on your navy configuration, may need to consume other military goods as well, such as ammunition and radios, in order to keep in fighting condition. Flotillas differ from battalions in how long it takes to create and upgrade them. Constructing a competitive navy is not something you can begin considering when your rival has already started saber rattling. Makes sense. Isn't saber RE, or is this another, yet another thing where the Americans have changed it for no reason? Probably. Another difference between battalions and flotillas is that your country's navy is always considered to be in full active service. In peacetime, generals can keep their troops on low alert, limiting their consumption and expenses. Once war breaks out, generals can be selectively mobilized to only deploy the troops necessary. Admirals, on the other hand, have exorbitant needs and expenses even while at peace, so sizing and teching your navy appropriately is an important consideration for imperialists on a tight budget. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, not having any ability to lower the cost would be weird, right? In Victoria 2, you could turn the amount of supply to your navy down. But I don't know how historically accurate that was, I guess. Maybe this is more historically accurate, that they're like always alert, always doing something, which makes me feel like there needs to be a lot more peacetime play than there was in Victoria 2. Like if you're constantly 100% of the time spending money on your navy, having and navies being expensive, there needs to be a reason to have one in peacetime. If you are a relatively peaceful player, then you would forego a navy purely because it's so expensive. So it should give a big benefit during peace to make it worth it. Also, during warfare, it needs to be like, if you've spent the money on your navy and your enemy hasn't, because it's exorbitantly expensive, it should have that amount of impact. Like, I can imagine when... I'm going to say when, because I can't imagine they won't add it. When blockades get added, that it needs to be absolutely crippling. Just purely to make the massive expense worth it. Because if you can't lower the expenses, like that is like the navies are monstrously expensive. On the other hand, navies provide you with considerable power projection. I mean, I guess it gives you a bunch of prestige. But But power projection in and of itself, I don't care. I don't think that's enough in and of itself. Prestige is, I mean, you go up the ranks. What being a higher rank is going to give you more capacity, I guess. Is that going to be enough to make big fat navy worth? I don't know. Having a world-class navy is not strictly a requirement to be a great power, particularly if you're a large self-sustaining terrestrial empire, but definitely helps you both gain and hold on to that title. Alright, so we got an artistic mock-up of the navy panel with flotillas expanded. Admiral Alvarez de Toledo cans 20 flotillas of man-o-wars on a patrol mission to secure an important Spanish shipping lane. How many ships is in a fucking flotilla? Can we see, right? Let's have a gander at this. Can we see how many we've got? This just looks like you've got this amount of people on the ships. Right, what is this then? We've got 20 flotillas. What fuck is a flotilla, though? And what are they, right? Is that man-o-wars, submarines? Is this... I mean, that almost looks like a production method, right? Expert naval commander. The picture looks like a boat sinking. That's great. So these are his boats. What's that thing down the bottom? Is that the people who are employed? There's 100 somebodies, and then 950 somebody else's out of 1,000 somebodies. I don't know. But he's patrolling in the Iberian HQ. What's a HQ? Headquarters, obviously, but what is it in this perspective? That's not what I wanted. Are these the individual ships? Because we've got a monitor is a ship. So is one of these ships called Monitor Magnanime, and one of these ships is called Monitor Galois II. So each ship has 100 defensive fortifications on it. No, it can't be. I don't know. Because this is where the battalions are. He's got 20 flotillas. So if we scroll down, are we going to see 20 of these? It doesn't look like the scroll bar is long enough. I don't know. Alright, some more stuff here. Before we wrap up for this week, I want to say a few words about the lack of an order to just seek out and destroy the enemy forces. In Victoria 3, your commanders, generals as well as admirals, are given strategic objectives, which they use their manpower and resources to carry out the best they can. If in the process they get into conflict with the enemy's forces, as they almost certainly will at some point, a battle will ensue. The outcome of that battle determines which direction the war proceeds in. The intent of this is to remove the need to babysit your commanders. To illustrate this, assume we did have an order to seek and destroy. The optimal choice would be then to assign this order only to the strongest commander, fight the eventual battle, and then revoke this order and give it to another commander while the first one recuperates, and so on. Okay, so this makes me think that even the winner in a naval battle does need to repair his ships, right? The first one needs to recuperate. That's what I'm reading. That's what I'm seeing. Even though this is a hypothetical, the fact that this is in that hypothetical makes me think this is how it works. Is maybe that what these green bars are? How well, like, undamaged they are, perhaps? Maybe. Hopefully. Something like that. With an order like Advance Front instead, the general's intention is simply to capture territory as efficiently as possible, ideally while avoiding enemy interference. If it's impossible to avoid the enemy, the imperative is to try to be intercepted by as weak of an enemy force as possible. Meanwhile, the intent behind Defend Front is the opposite, preventing enemy incursions by defending it in the places where the enemy might advance, bringing to bear as powerful a force as possible. Similarly, at sea, convoy raiding is about maximizing shipping lane damage while avoiding detection, while patrol is about minimizing damage to convoys by seeking out and destroying those enemy ships, attacking them, not to sink ships for its own sake. Alright, honestly, that feels fair enough. Yeah, that feels fair enough. Depending on how the war is developing, your priorities or overall strategy might certainly shift, causing you to change the orders you've assigned or make changes in your ranks to distribute resources differently. But our design intent is that this should only be necessary because your strategy is evolving, not to counter enemy movements or try to min-max your way to victory. Yeah, okay. Kind of feels a little bit like navies are gonna be a little bit set and forget. Other than when you're at war and you'll set somebody to convoy raid, or if you need to pull one back to get a naval invasion, it seems like a lot of these navies will be, you go protect there and I'll forget about you for the rest of the game. That's what I fear. Alright. This is an especially important consideration for the naval part of the warfare mechanics. Naval and aerial warfare in strategy games commonly face the design challenge of extreme mobility options due to the lack of obstacles to movement. Usually some form of fog of war and interception radius mechanics is employed to counteract turtling behavior. The AI often also has to be forced to make mistakes to not become too good at dodging or intercepting the player in this environment. Even with Victoria 3's more strategic level decision making, the freedom of movement the sea provides would make a system where being in and avoiding being in the same location as the enemy so as to start and not start a battle extremely micro-heavy, annoying, and highly unfair to either human or AI players depending on implementation. I feel like that's kind of still something you possibly could do with the patrol and the convoy raid. Like, if somebody's convoy raiding you in this place, you could set patrol to the same place. Right, I kind of feel like that's going to be a thing. I don't know. Instead, in Victoria 3, you tell your admirals what their overall priorities should be for the war. Then they try to do that, using the resources they've been allocated, only come into conflict when they become aware of an enemy admiral with an order that clashes with their own. So wait, enemy admiral with an order that clashes with their own. Hopefully, like, their orders that clash with their own would be literally anything. I would hope that no matter what orders my ships are on, unless it's like a naval invasion or unless it's like something... I don't know what else I would actually put in there. If my navy is stronger, I would like it to engage. I can't think of a reason why I wouldn't want that if I'm at war with this person. I don't know. Hope it gives you a good idea of what to expect from the naval mechanics in Victoria 3. Honestly, I'm more confused than I was at the start. It's left a lot of questions open. I think after last week, we all kind of expected there to be a very reduced naval presence in the micro that you need to do. There's no building individual ships. I don't think anyone expected that. And things going through the admirals as well. I think I expected that as well. But there are still open questions about what exactly is a flotilla. Is that 5 ships, 10 ships? Who knows? And questions about how exactly these orders would play out. Things to think about, and obviously I've got this. I'm recording this on the Wednesday, the day before the Dev Diary comes out, so there are no community comments to read or dev responses to read, so I can't really go through those. But we will have a video in the not too distant future where I do look at the dev responses because, yeah, those are important. I think they're going to be very important in this case. I hope it gives you a good idea of what to expect from the naval mechanics in Victoria 3. Next week, we'll wrap up this first batch of diaries on the military system by going through the many economic impacts of warfare in Victoria 3. Until then. Alright, so, right. I think we can sort of understand some of the economic impacts, like if we go up here. Alright, the economic impact of blockading the Austrian market, or naval raiding, or convoy raiding the Austrians in this area, means that they're not going to get their coffee, not going to get their dye. So you would, in effect, then have stopped this. You would affect their economy in this way. I really don't know what to make of this dev diary. I am a little bit stumped. Because, on the one hand, I kind of like a lot of what I'm seeing. I like that navies are more important. At least it feels like they're more important. I don't know. I don't like how untransparent everything is with regards to how the navies are set up. Am I going to see individual ships? Am I going to... Is it just... This admiral has 20 flotillas of... boats, probably. I don't know. I don't know. There is, as far as I can tell, no way to see in this dev diary. It'd be nice to get some answers to that in the dev comments, and I guess we'll have to wait a few days for those. But yeah, there's... I am less... I'm not unhappy with this as I was in the previous dev diary. There are things to like and enjoy in this. I just need to know more. The need to know more intensifies. And I guess that's where I'll leave it. So thank you very much for watching. Please do leave your comments in the comments section below. What do you think of this system? Have you got the same understanding issues that I have got? If you have read through this and have different opinions or different understandings than I do, please do leave them in the comment section below as well, so that I can read, maybe understand a bit better. If there's anything I missed, for example. But until next time, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this Dev Diary video. Like button's there if you want to click it. Subscribe if you want to see more Victoria 3 content. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.